Becca Bloom is a prime case study on billionaire syndrome. This is an individual who, having been handed a life of inordinate wealth, has now realized that the $100,000 Hermes hauls, the cars, the drivers, they're no longer enough for her. And so she has to go for the one thing that money can't directly buy, and that's fame, acceptance, and ultimately likability. Because Becca Bloom is a Nepo baby, she can never actually have an honest, authentic conversation about the privileges her wealth has given her in life to her audience. And the reason for that is because she has an insane chip on her shoulder, where she constantly has to project this persona of a person who, in spite of her inordinate wealth, is still so hardworking and is still so deserving of everything she has in life. Which is why when you watch her content, it almost feels like the wealth is an afterthought and she's implicitly just trying to ignore that factor in the conversation altogether, right? Like, she will unbox 20 motif Van Cleef necklaces in the same demeanor and cadence that some random influencer might a $20 Dior lip oil. And in the same vein, Becca will pretty regularly bring up the fact that she works a job in finance, as though we, the audience, are supposed to listen to that and be like, "Oh, Becca, we know that you never have to lift a finger, so the fact that you're actually working a job is so impressive. Good job." Let me tell you something. As someone who worked at a very notable bank last summer, there is nothing more infuriating than interacting with Nepo babies who treat a job that could give a poor person literal generational wealth as though it's a little badge they get to tack on to add to their already insufferable personalities. And the worst part about it all is that Becca Bloom gets away with it because her audience represents the lowest intellectual common denominator that exists on this app. She only reaches right to you because you apply zero critical thinking to the content that you consume on a daily basis. But for just a split second, when Becca Bloom posted this take on equality, and I saw genuine pushback from people who are thinking critically about her content for the first time in their lives, I realized there was light at the end of the tunnel. If you're not already convinced that Becca Bloom is an incredibly image-obsessed and self-centered person at this point, just keep watching. The thing about Nepo babies who are used to getting the things that they always want is that when there's even a little bit of friction, they go absolutely insane. Which is why when this incredibly small creator left a comment on her video, which in my opinion was very valid in calling her out for not talking about wealth inequality, Becca Bloom decided to clap back by commenting on this very small creator's video, not actually even addressing the point, by the way, literally just saying that like her comment was taken down for like cyberbullying and saying that like if they actually knew her family, they would never comment that. Again, just evading very valid criticism. And on the topic of her family, if you didn't already know, her family amassed a degree of their wealth through fraud. And so if you haven't watched this creator's video already, I really recommend you do so. And so after all of this backlash, to save face, Becca decides to do what she does best: throw money at the problem. Right, she posts this angel tree shopping video where she like essentially spends a couple bands buying kids like Nintendo Switches and stuff. And again, the people in the comments eat it up. I love when rich people are also good people. When I can tell you for a fact that not only is the money she spent in that video on children a minuscule amount relative to her net worth, but she probably made all of that money back and then some from the commission she got from TikTok for the views she got on that video. Becca Bloom does not rich right, and she's certainly not one of the good ones. When you peel back the layers and you look through the facade, you realize that Becca Bloom is much like this gentleman in this political cartoon. Becca Bloom does the same thing that conservative politicians do, where they take relatively minuscule issues like transgender athletes in sports, and then they blow it way out of proportion to stop you from focusing on issues like the inordinate wealth gap in society. Becca, I just wanted to say, since I know you'll be watching this video as you watch all of your critique videos, one day, your audience will be incredibly tired of grazing on your crumbs while they watch you have your cake and eat it too. And when that day comes, they will see right.
This creator just made a very interesting and thorough video about how some of Becca Bloom's family money was allegedly generated through fraud. The first time I saw her pop up on my FYP, I was like, oh, who is this adorable little munchkin? And then I looked at her profile and I was like, oh, the munchkin is rich. And then my immediate next thought was, girl, what are you doing here amongst the proletariat? You don't need this. I've watched many of her videos. She seems like a very rational gal. I'm sure she did a cost-benefit analysis of becoming a content creator and opening her life up to the world. Regardless of how small and curated the snippets of her life she chooses to share are, people don't care about that context. And if you give a mouse a cookie, they're gonna ask for a glass of milk. They're gonna poke around, especially if a lot of your content is to do with flaunting extravagant wealth, especially in this economy. During this time. So throughout her meteoric rise to social media fame, I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop because the backlash was inevitable, whether you think it's warranted or not. I just can't imagine the value of opening yourself up to that kind of scrutiny when you're already that wealthy. But I guess like fame is one thing that money can't buy. And it's like an itch that when you have everything else, You just gotta scratch. For some. Now we have people poking around, looking into her parents' financials and mergers and acquisitions and IPOs and private equity and blah, 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 blah. If I could ask her any question about her social media, it would be, is creating this platform worth it and why? Like, what do you gain?
Becca Bloom is classless because no matter how softly you speak, if your career is made off of flaunting your wealth, classless. And yeah, I am a little bit of a hater, and it's not really in such a personal way, like she didn't do anything to me, but I'm a hater of rich ass people. You can't have that kind of wealth. You can't be eating off of a couple $1,000 Versace plate and think that you like deserve to not get hate in your comments from your working class fan base. Because she knows other rich people aren't consuming her content. She knows that content isn't enjoyable to other rich people. She knows that she's flaunting it to poor people, and that is who's going to eat that up. Yeah, I've just always found her icky, and I guess now the tide is beginning to shift because I'm seeing other people talk about how all of her comments are different. Everyone's like, oh, it's just, this is what happens on the internet. Everyone just switches up one day. Babe, it's like class consciousness is on the rise. It's not just like we switched up because we stopped fucking with her bejeweled like dresses. And I don't know, the other comment I kept seeing is like, people just love to hate her for nothing. And it's like, maybe you could make an argument for the hatred being a little misplaced because she didn't like set up capitalism. She's just reaping the benefits and shoving it down your throat for more money. But I'm not gonna fault people for being mad at her. And if there's any problem with switching up, it's that we liked her in the first place, that we give people platforms for just literally being rich.
I don't know why this even needs to be said, but there is no such thing as riching right or being an ethical billionaire. I don't think a lot of you guys, first of all, understand exactly how much money $1 billion is. Like, that is insane amounts of money. And with like the average salary that an American makes, they would have to work years, and I mean hundreds, if not thousands of years to ever make $1 billion. Meanwhile, you have people making that every single year on a very consistent basis. And we're talking hundreds of billions. And you have Elon Musk now even trying to become a trillionaire. Meanwhile, that with all of the billionaires in the world, we could literally eliminate world hunger. Poverty wouldn't be an issue. Universal health care could be granted. There are so many things that could be funded with that money. But it just amazes me that some of you guys seem to think that like, oh, there are certain exclusions in terms of who we're talking about when we say eat the rich. And I'm specifically saying this because I've been seeing so many people bring up Becca Bloom, and I see like, I used to watch her videos and I just genuinely was not honestly aware of just how filthy rich she was. But like, it started to actually make me sick after a while because I'm like, okay, she's just like pretty much like bragging about Hermes or Gucci, Balenciaga, all of that. Meanwhile, the average American can barely afford to buy a carton of eggs to fill up their gas tank. Becca Bloom is grotesquely rich, y'all. And I'm so sick of seeing people say like, oh my gosh, she's riching right. Like, she's not riching like the other people. She's not bragging about it. Like, the lady brags about $100,000 necklaces, earrings, jewelries, and engagement rings for herself. Like, there's so much abnormal things that she does that your average human being, average American especially, will never be able to do. That girl could go to literally any store in the world and not have to worry about how much she's spending. And that is a privilege to be in that position, to not ever have to worry about your bank account or looking at your bank account. And y'all are up here in her comment section, acting like this girl is like the most hardworking, deserving woman on the planet. And like, why are you guys going so hard for Becca Bloom? Like, mind you, she's grotesquely rich. Like, it's not like she's just a couple $1 million here. Like, hell, I would even give her if she was just like 20, maybe 20, 50 million. Even that, I would be a little bit like, okay, she's rich, but she's not like 1%. Like, that is 1% level of wealth that she's in. You do understand that, right? Like, no one, again, 1%, 99% are not making anything that she's making. But you rarely, if ever, have you ever heard her donating, maybe even money to like people in need. Like, it's just her bragging about what she can afford to buy. It's hauls. And you guys are saying she's not doing it. She's not bragging like everyone else does. Yes, she is. She just has a softer, sweeter voice about it. Like, that's it. She may not outwardly be saying to your face, ha ha ha, I'm richer than you. But she's saying it definitely in her head. And she knows that when she posts these videos, oh, I got a bunch of people that will never be making as much money as me watching my videos. Look at my $100,000 this. I paid $300,000 for this. Look at this and this and this. She's grotesquely rich. There is no such thing as being like when you're that wealthy, there is nothing ethical about that. Do you understand how many toes you have to step on? How many backs you have to break in order to get to that level of wealth? That is an extreme level of selfishness and greed. Like, that is literally, you have to be evil to do something like that. Because quite honestly, if she wasn't bragging, if she didn't want to brag, she wouldn't even be on the internet. Because she wouldn't be on the internet. Like, she would be just very, very quiet about her wealth in terms of outwardly expressing it to the public. But no, she's on the internet posting, and she knows that y'all are going to watch it. She knows that y'all are going to eat it up because you guys are going to be like, look at her. She's so soft and sweet and cute and pretty and this and that. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. It's not ethical, and it's disgusting. The same energy that y'all put towards Elon and to other one percenters is the same energy you need to put towards her. And again, I'm not talking about, when you say eat the rich, we're not talking about people making just $1 million here, here, or 3 million there, or even 10 million there. Eat the rich is for literally the most grotesque amount of wealth that you could ever possibly imagine. And again, there is a point where you have so much money, it's actually like, why do you have that much money? So just like the others, Becca also gotta go.
Some of Becca Bloom's wealth was generated through fraud. What I'm going to talk about today.
Anything that creator says in this video is alleged. Me stitching this is not a endorsement, but he seemingly has done the research. And it seems that Becca Bloom's family's wealth was due to fraud, where some of it. And I think, to me, that is the wild thing about billionaires wanting to be influencers. That if she just would have been quiet, then no one would be looking up her family's history of defrauding investors. Like, if she just did her own thing, like, people wouldn't be looking up her parents' company. Like, you're saying she's rich and right, but she's actually just allegedly fraudulent. I don't know, I hope, like, more lawyers and, researchers or journalists, like, really get into this, because it's a big deal if, companies are cooking the books, per se. Like, to flaunt all this wealth and then your wealth is actually stolen is, allegedly, truly wild. But also, like, thank you, Becca, for, like, outing your family and then also, like, giving us this entertainment, because, like, this is the long game here. Like, in your pursuit of, like, giving Olaplex products to homeless people so that you could get more brand deals, you've inadvertently perhaps uncovered your family's unsavory machinations, and that is, like, that finally, like, you're finally starting to get iconic and, like, work diva.
And until society becomes statistically equal, you cannot cherry pick equality only in moments where it allows you to contribute less. So yes, my husband pays all the bills, and yes, I think that's the bare minimum.
Let's listen to what she just said. She's saying that until society becomes equal, we shouldn't cherry pick equality. And she uses an example where she is basically weaponizing feminism. Because for her viewpoint, she's thinking that splitting the bill, having a man pay for your lifestyle, even though, let's be real, your family is rich enough to pay for your own, it's really just symbolic between your relationship. It's ironic that the billionaire or multi-millionaire or extremely rich person is saying that until society is statistically equal, money is the biggest root of all the problems that exist in the world. Poverty is probably the biggest problem that exists in the world. You talking about feminism is you cherry picking an example in which case you do not have to contribute that much. You do not have to self-examine in yourself, why are you so triggered when people bring up your family's wealth. In this comment, you can read, she responds, kind of tongue-in-cheek snarky. But it's kind of her response to all these videos that are talking about, like, if you actually care about equality, you would work to give your money away. You would work to actually improve economic situations for people. Because let's be real, there's no ethical way to become a billionaire. And when people call her out and say, how did your family make that money? Somewhere along the line, you must have exploited someone. Somewhere along the line, you did not deserve that money. And she doesn't respond by saying, oh, this is how we made our money. She responds by saying, you don't know anything about my family, so mind your business. This is not feminism. She doesn't actually care about you. She wants to paint you this unrealistic picture that if you want to support feminism, you'll find a man that will pay for everything. And statistically, that's not likely to happen. And so it's the same old tale of a rich person telling you, oh yeah, your problems are because of this and not because of my lifestyle and my resources.
She wear fakes, she wear fakes, she wear fakes, honey. Now remember, when we left off with them circles in part 1, for them straps that the real ones do not come with, people say, she could have got them custom done. She's rich. She got it custom. Honey, after further journalistic investigation, honey, let me tell you this. Can you see it right here? Pay attention. If not, let me get closer. Yes, honey, it don't even have the Hermes stamp. As you see here, the little Hermes stamp at the top. Not there. So for those, did she custom order and tell me, hey y'all, I'm so quiet luxury, I don't even want y'all to put the stamp on there. Sweetie, they don't do that. And remember, this pink one has the holes and it does have the Hermes stamp. They do not come with straps. They do not come with holes. This is fake. So she does mix fakes in her collection. And I don't see anything wrong with it, honey. Okay. Now, little Tammy, we gotta address this comment right here, girl, because you gave me an idea. When rich people wear fake, people cheer. But when broke people do it, they get booed so loud. Girl, I decided to take these comments that you guys wrote here and I decided to take it to the streets. Why do you think broke people wear fake bags?
I feel like some people would like want to flex too much, you know what I mean? And like,
what do you think about rich people that buy fake bags?
I support it because that's low-key a rich mindset. Like, you gotta pay the budget. You gotta pay the if you're talking about Becca Bloom.
Yes! Girl, wait, did you see my video? Oh, you probably didn't see my video, girl. But yeah, girl, yes! Yes! So, back to the tea, girl. So, those of you guys that said, oh, but Hermes did make some bags with shoulder straps. Those bags were back in the 90s, okay? And they only did it for about a year. In the 90s, early 90s. And the shoulder straps were at the top in a D-ring form around the flap of the Birkin because that is the most supported, most structured place. If you were to put a strap here, this would mess up the structure. This would mess up the structure of the bag. So they would never put it here. The only time they had shoulder strap Birkins was in the 90s. And the straps were D-ring form at the top where this flap is reinforced right here, as you see, is the thickest part of the leather. And for those of you guys that say you could custom order a Birkin, yes, you can. But that's after reaching a certain reputation and a certain relationship with your essay. You could only choose between the leather colors. You could only choose between the thread and type of hardware. Do you see right there? You cannot ask for some little rings to put on your bag to make a shoulder strap, girl. You cannot, okay? The only custom order you can do is with a Kelly and a mini Kelly, and you can custom order how long your strap can be. You cannot add a strap to a Birkin. You cannot compromise the design's integrity of a Birkin. You cannot. I'm sorry. I don't give a damn how rich you are. You can't. I have been offered to make a la carte Birkin. I have, and you cannot add a strap to a Birkin at all. And to address the comments, people say, "Oh, she wears them for travel, and she only wears them for travel." No, she don't, girl. She wear them at home too, because as you see, this picture was taken in Napa, California, which is only 30 to 40 minutes away from where she lives in San Francisco. Okay, her mama got her a real one, or it could be a high quality replica, and she got that replica one with the messed up handles, with the misshaped flap, and the structure is not that great. But girl, who cares? Because guess what, girl? She been wearing that red replica for years. As you see here in 2020, honey, she took that replica to Paris, honey. Honey, that replica is living better lives than humans, okay? As you see, like I showed y'all right here, see how good these metal D-ring hoop things is for the strap. You see how of this handle, you see how good and sturdy they are, and no matter how much you try to push, look at me trying to hold this for a few seconds, hold it for a few seconds. Do you see how it bounced right back? Do you see how it bounced right back? And you see how that red one is all messed up, girl? But honey, she wore it in 2020, took it to Paris, and in 2021 she took it to the snow, honey, and didn't even put on the raincoat, girl. Didn't even put on the raincoat to protect the girl. And it still is lasting, girl. Honey, the replica is still standing strong, honey. And as y'all see, that red one been the same level of bent for all the years. And as you see here in 2024, she wore it again and looking fabulous, girl. It don't matter where the hell the bag come from. It matter how do you put it together, girl. How do you style it? Are you that girl? Do you have the je ne sais quoi to pull it off? Okay? Because she do. And let's keep it real. Those y'all that want to justify, oh, she do it for traveling. Girl, why would she be wearing her real Van Cleef, her real Cartier, her real Rolex, her real, really expensive engagement ring for travel, but she couldn't wear her Birkins for travel, her real Birkins for travel? Why would she wear real expensive jewelry that could easily be stolen, easily be misplaced? You swim, whatever, it could come off, but she go wear fake Birkins? Girl, it don't matter, girl. She don't just wear them things for travel, okay? And when you guys see this recent unboxing of her trip to Europe, she said she was offered a mini pink Birkin, which she already had, the one with the holes. And she like, what's the point of buying the real one when I already got my replica one that's just as good, just as believable, go last just as long, go hold her stuff just as the same. It's not gonna hold it any better, not gonna save her out of a burning building, not about to, cure cancer. What's the point? And I love that girl. I love that Becca Bloom. And it don't matter that the straps is messed up, that the flap is too short, girl. As long as you put it together and make that outfit eat it up, make that outfit eat it up, honey. That's all that matter. And I don't give a damn what y'all haters say. Y'all know damn well she look good with that fake Minnie Kelly. She looked good, girl. She looked real good, girl. And it's still gonna be in the PJ, no stamp, strap, and all. And mama giving, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Nobody's losing their mind. We're just not dumb enough to fall for whatever y'all fell for. And I found the Reddit snark thread, so I'm gonna read that because this is where all of it came from. Is this Reddit? Go ahead and go back to skinny fitness talk. Bye. While you're over there fantasizing about eating a meal, we're going to be reading and eating for filth. Everything. And then she told me a few weeks ago when I brought up seeing one of Becca's videos. So this was posted on Reddit. The tea is Rebecca's father's company, I forget the name, it's Camelot, went public on New York Stock Exchange NASDAQ many years ago with fraudulent papers. And when there was an investigation, they took the company private. Jamie also told my friend that Rebecca's dad, Simon, kept trying to befriend Jamie's dad, which is Ken, because Jamie's dad is obviously way more well-known and successful. But Ken didn't want any association with Simon after he discovered Simon's shady business dealings.
And she said this is why they never met or even hung out with Rebecca or their family, even though they only live a few blocks from each other and are close in age. My friend also told me Simon was telling Ken how all the kids have mental issues and that Rebecca has anorexia for 10 plus years and doesn't eat. I mean, they say it's kind of obvious because she's incredibly thin and it's so cringe. She makes all of these videos plating her breakfast, but she obviously doesn't eat it. So I hope you have fun over on Skinny Talk. Moving on. Her fiance is not as wealthy as he makes him out to be on TikTok. All of the gifts Rebecca flaunts that he bought for her on TikTok were bought for her by her mother or old items she already had. It says the essay, the sales associate Jamie's mom shares with Rebecca's mom, confirmed this. Also, Rebecca's sister works as an assistant to this sales associate, which is really weird to me. And apparently Rebecca's sister is super nice and friendly, but Rebecca herself is not, and she's quite the opposite of nice, friendly persona she shows online. Jamie has never met Rebecca, but her mother met Rebecca once at Hyman's, and Jamie's mom really disliked Rebecca because she was being very rude and standoffish and stuck up towards Jamie's mom. It wasn't until the essay told Rebecca, like, oh, this is Jamie from Bling Empire, that Rebecca came friendly towards her. I've met Jamie's mom twice, and she is really one of the most nicest, most genuine people in the world, not materialistic or rude or anything. I remember she told me that she has Jamie to thank for all of their beautiful fashion pieces, and Jamie is her stylist. And then here is more about the unboxings happening in the public spaces. Also, Rebecca does unboxings of jewelry that were loaned to her to make it seem like she bought them. Some are obviously real, but some are fake, like the Bulgari high jewelry one, and Rebecca also owns fake Birkins. Someone made a video about it on TikTok, and she deleted the photos. She deleted the photos because she was obviously embarrassed since her whole persona is about being rich. And it goes on to say she had weird vibes and nothing like her online persona. Like Rebecca was trying to pretend like she knew all the rich influencers and told Dorothy she knew Jamie and that they grew up together. And Jamie was like, what the fuck? I've never met her before and definitely didn't grow up with her. Anyway, that's everything I can remember. We had such a long convo that day, so maybe I missed some stuff, but I was shocked to hear some of it. At the end of the day, Jamie and Dorothy's dad are listed on Forbes worth billions, and Becca's isn't because they're not billionaires and don't have legit businesses and committed fraud. In fact, Becca's parents tried to scrub as much as info as possible off the internet about them to hide their fraudulent past. So, I'm gonna start watching Bling Empire.
Things I thought were normal growing up, but are not.
I was actually expecting everybody to love Daphne because today's biggest star on TikTok is Becca Bloom, and they're talking about the same thing, what it was like growing up rich. But the comments were the complete opposite. People were literally telling her that she cannot be black and privileged. And those who did believe her were denying that she's black because she's taking money from a white man because her father is white, so it means that she's not really black. So I DM'd Daphne and she actually invited me to her house in LA, and I flew there, and I actually even met her mom, who told me her side of the story when it came to the Queen of England story and when Daphne flew without a passport. But all of this made me think about a different thing. Why the fuck do rich kids go online and tell about their life, how it's so different from 99% of the world? And I'm no exception. I have been doing this over the past 2 years. And guys, the easiest way to go viral on TikTok is to be rich and to show receipts, so people don't question if you are really rich or not. And I'm not talking about Becca Bloom right now, because let me get a bit further to this point. I occasionally post scandalous things myself because I understand that in order for me to deliver my real message, I need to get viral, and in order to get viral, I need to show something scandalous. So I need to show my socks from Chanel for $900. But if your entire goal as a rich kid to go online and flex, then why the fuck are you doing this, and what are you expecting? Because I believe that there is only one way to do rich kid content the right way. This is by knowledge sharing. And everybody's saying rich is getting richer and poor people are getting more poor. But have you asked yourself why? It's because before you could be from different financial backgrounds and still go to the same schools, live in the same neighborhoods. But today, rich parents, they make sure that their children are in the bubble and God forbid they interact with anybody else. They see it as a threat. And that's why, as a result, there is no knowledge sharing. So the advice which rich people give to their children only stays within rich kids. People are like, oh, how did Becca find such a rich husband? Guys, because rich people interact only with rich people. So I believe that if you are doing rich kid content, your only goal is to provide knowledge, to tell other people what you've been taught, and that's how your parents got rich. And I think Becca actually does a great job at this. But there are so many other rich kid creators who just come online to flex. What reaction are they expecting? Especially, and I know that that's another cliche thing, that the world feels like Hunger Games. And it has been feeling like this for a while. But right now, I don't know about your For You page, guys. Maybe it's just mine because I'm producing similar content. But I scroll and it's either War and Chaos or rich kid content. There is no in between because algorithm, once again, doesn't promote it. So even if you're a rich kid and you don't want to seem arrogant, you still have to do this stuff. You still have to show, oh, here are my perfumes, here's my watch. I'm my own social experiment. I decided to start a YouTube channel because I'm sincerely interested in this and because I could afford it, okay? I asked my parents to send me a lot of money and I was like, guys, I'm gonna make this amazing production and we're gonna get viral and I'm gonna tell people all of the secrets of the rich people. It's gonna go so well. But at core, I was thinking, if I'm the person who was given all of the tools in the world to succeed, private educations, tutors, studying abroad, investments from my parents. I was still, for the first year on YouTube, guys, I was making zero and I was wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars. And every time something wouldn't work, I would just call my dad and I would be like, Dad, I need more. And that made me think, if people like me, who were already given so much head start, are still struggling with making it in the world, like by themselves, even though I never made it by myself, I was always thinking, how the fuck do we expect people to make it? And what type of responsibility do we as rich people have? Because do you know this segment? Rich people who do it right. Once again, I'm sure that a lot of people who are in this segment, they donate and they just don't show it online. But if you are online, you have a responsibility to provide value because it's not value to show what you're buying. And if people are questioning, oh, are you really rich? Are you not really rich? Why, as a rich kid, does it bother you? Why do you have this need to prove, oh, I'm actually rich, I'm actually rich. Like, here are the receipts. Why the fuck do you care? Your goal should not be proving anybody that you're rich or not. Your goal should be providing value. And that's why I'm very confused by a lot of rich kid creators. Anyways, do you think there is a right way to be a rich kid online? Or should rich kids even post? And if they should, what type of content do you expect from them? As always, thank you and do whatever you want with this information.
The way I did not move for that Becca Bloom angel tree video, these people can do it 1,000 times fold. That's the thing. I'm sick, bro. Like her saying, like her husband saying in the video, oh, get the most expensive one, wrap it up, absolutely not. I know what you are, and y'all, so many people fall for it all the time. I don't get it, y'all. She does not need to be posting these things as it is. She doesn't need the extra money from TikTok because quite literally billionaires. I'm sorry, I'll just never fall for it.
Becca Bloom's version of feminism reminded me of the I'm just a girl phenomenon, which is encouraging girls to not know how to do anything and just leaving it up to a man because I'm just a girl. To Becca Bloom, a man should pay for your dinner, a man should pay for a fancy vacation or taking you on a jet. These should be things that a man pays for. Mind you, she doesn't mention that her man is a billionaire, but also her understanding of feminism is just limited to her living in a Western country and being part of the billionaire class, and it doesn't take into consideration the experiences of so many women. And what comes to mind for me, of course, as a Palestinian, is thinking of Palestinian women who have, for example, had to work non-stop, like day and night, to provide for their families because their husband got killed or because their husband had an injury that left him severely disabled on a wheelchair, and this husband can't go to work and get money. I think that a lot of people that are rich in the West and have only experienced living in the West, and by the way, that doesn't just include white people, it goes across different races. Like, I see it with a lot of Arab Americans that I interact with that are women. Their idea of what it means to be a woman and what it means to have feminism is so limited, and it is actually taking us backwards because the things that they are saying are just memorized from an aesthetic social media feed, instead of actually living and experiencing what it means to be a woman living in a world that exploits people, while these billionaires in America get richer and richer and their hands get dirtier and dirtier.
Becca Bloom choosing to argue with people in their comment sections is so funny, it almost feels biblical. Imagine being the child of billionaires, and then every time that your TikTok comment notification goes off, your heart goes aflutter with anxiety or rage. Imagine caring that much. You literally have an untold amount of time to do whatever you want, build whatever life you want, and you choose to instead scroll with the rest of us. You know, like that, kind of insane to me. And I think that the reason that it really makes me embarrassed for Becca Bloom is because it proves the point, which is that at their core, hyper rich people are a almost insatiable, like mentally unhealthy level of greedy. Because it's not enough that she has every Birkin bag. It's not enough that she has a chef that makes her breakfast with caviar every single day. She needs everyone's love and adoration too. She can't just have it all physically. She needs it all mentally and spiritually too. And actually seeing that she can't have that there are things you can't buy, it fucking eats at her. And it shouldn't. It literally shouldn't. Like, that shouldn't even matter, right? She doesn't know any of these people. None of these people could even recognize her walking down the street, most likely. And yet, for some reason, it matters to her. And I guess maybe she would say, like, oh, it's like an honor thing. People are saying that, like, my parents are evil because they're billionaires. And it's like, dude, I would say so, too. I mean, because, like, there's no such thing as being a billionaire that you didn't steal most of the money from the workers who built everything for you. Like, yeah, I would say that, like, it's pretty reprehensible to be, like, that ostentatiously wealthy at a time when literally on the same device that you are rage baiting people with, okay, you can see videos of people here in the United States and all over the world who are suffering because people like your parents exist. Yeah, get bent.
Becca Bloom commented on my TikTok, which is great. I want discourse because she posted a video talking about equality, and I just think the elephant in the room is that you're a billionaire, so what do you know about equality? All I commented saying was that, hey, can we have the same energy for equality and talk about redistributing your billionaire family's wealth? And apparently that's a cyberbullying comment. The irony of this was that her comment on my video was also in my folded comments. So putting the ChatGPT response to the side, genuinely, I want to have a conversation. I want to know. Prove me wrong. I don't want to be right. I don't want to think that billionaires are horrible people that just exploit everyone around them because that's the only way that they can be billionaires. But I'm not seeing any other alternative. Tell me about your family. Tell me about how you managed to make this massive wealthy empire. And if you don't want to, that's okay. It's none of my business. But don't be coming onto small creators' comment sections and accusing them of bullying when they're just trying to discuss the massive wealth inequality that we have in the world, which you are a symbol of. Having that much wealth is just unethical. There is no way to ethically be a billionaire. You are exploiting people. We are seeing how much people are struggling in today's society and economy, and you continue to just post on TikTok showing off your wealth. And to be deleting people's comments and accusing small creators of cyberbullying you because people are pointing that out is insanely immature to me.
Yeah, but you have servants, Becca Bloom. You have servants, and you're pushing a false idea of feminism, and that's why it's a legitimate question. So Becca Bloom made a video talking about what men don't understand about equality, particularly in the dating world. And the video is fine. She talks about how 50-50 isn't actually 50-50 because women earn 80% of what men make, how women have to spend more on beauty and grooming, and how women are more likely to experience violence on a date, which is all fine. And she ends by saying, men only remember the word equality when it benefits them financially. Equality isn't identical treatment. Equality is balanced responsibility. And until society becomes statistically equal, you cannot cherry pick equality only in moments where it allows you to contribute less. And again, all that's fine fine and great. But then my mutual on here, Bridge on Film, who has a great account, everyone should follow her, made a video of her typing a comment that said, "Can we keep this energy for equality by asking your billionaire family to distribute their wealth for equality?" Which I loved and thought was a great question, because Bloom comes from an obscenely rich family and got mega famous in part via her Gatsby-like ostentatious displays of wealth. That video, as of me making this, has about 1,600 views, but what did Bloom do? The comment disappeared, she may have deleted it even, and Bloom literally went into Bridge's comments and accused her of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. But again, you have servants, Becca Bloom. It sounds neat to have a chef that prepares your meals at home. I wouldn't know. But consider what that job means versus how your family made its fortune in the business world. As many of your commenters pointed out and you liked, there's a difference between equality and equity. The reason you're able to spend tens of thousands of dollars on Hermes shopping sprees, and so generously share that experience with us, is because our society has, as feminist scholar Nancy Fraser puts it, quote, the institutionalized separation of two supposedly distinct kinds of activity. On the one hand, so-called productive labor, historically associated with men and remunerated by wages. On the other hand, caring activities, often historically unpaid and still performed mainly by women. What that means is that your parents, and therefore you, are able to access and acquire vast amounts of equity while your servants are not. Software is a kind of reproducible industrialization, and capitalism means that the vast majority of rewards go to the owners of the means of production for making it. Let's say it takes 1,000 hours of labor for your parents to make a piece of software, and it takes your servants 1,000 hours of labor to do domestic work. After those 1,000 hours, your parents might have a business that strikes gold and they get massive returns. Unless your servants make their own company, they're not going to be able to do that. But also, the type of domestic labor that you use is inherently not reproducible. Someone needs to make those dumplings that you get to brag about eating at 4 a.m. The way that we've set up our economic system, in other words, is exactly how Fraser describes it. Your family gets to be worth 800 million times as much as your servants, which I'm sure both of us would agree is not actually representative of your value to society versus them. I hope we agree on that, no offense. People seem to enjoy your stuff and more power to you and them, but come on. Not 800 million or a billion times worth, surely. Now, you're a woman and your chef might be a dude, but disproportionately, this division of economic reward means that men generally have access to accrue capital way more than women, since men generally engage in economic behavior that our society arbitrarily calls productive, and women disproportionately engage in behavior that our society arbitrarily calls caring. More than the 80% wage gap, it's actually this much more disproportionate capital gap that affects women's ability to have dignity, agency, and ease in their life, all of which I genuinely believe both of us want women to have. As Fraser writes, quote, this gendered hierarchical division between production and reproduction is a defining structure of capitalist society and a deep source of the gender asymmetries hardwired in it. There can be no emancipation of women so long as the structure remains intact. Which is why Bridges' question is so relevant, because feminism without class consciousness is not a feminism for all, because there's also a racial component to this. Again, as Fraser writes, the trouble is this feminism is focused on encouraging educated middle-class women to lean in and crack the glass ceiling. By definition, then, its beneficiaries can only be women of the professional managerial class, like you. In absent structural changes in capitalist society, those women can only benefit by leaning on others, by offloading their own care work and housework onto low-wage precarious workers, typically racialized and or immigrant women. So this is not and cannot be a feminism for all women. In other words, not only do we give vastly fewer economic rewards under capitalism to women, we also give vastly fewer economic rewards to minorities, especially immigrants. And all this is completely arbitrary. We don't have to set up our society like this. And we shouldn't. I think the type of domestic labor that your servants do is just as difficult and valuable as anything your family's ever done. And anyone who has or has had a family member who's worked as a nurse or cook or cleaner will agree. But lastly, the reason you should think about Bridges' question is because you brought it up. As you said, quote, you cannot cherry pick equality only in moments where it allows you to contribute less. Just as that means I shouldn't ignore the privileges I have of being white and cis and so on, you shouldn't cherry pick your outrageous privilege as a billionaire that can afford to have servants. Because doing that is, I believe, kind of truly corrosive to your soul. And that's my theory behind why you felt the need, as a billionaire creator with 4.8 million followers, to go into a video with 1,600 views and accuse them of cyberbullying you. And since I'm a movie channel, the movie I recommend to you so you can understand why I think you did that is the movie Sallow by Pier Paolo Pasolini. It's an adaptation of the Marquis de Sade novel set in fascist Italy in the 40s, and the thing it communicates above all else is what having that much economic and political power does to people. It makes you want to further control and exploit people. On some deep soul level, I think every rich person like you understands that their ability to exist they do relies on crimes against someone somewhere. You're an heir, so you may not be totally aware of the specifics of your case, but it's absolutely true what Balzac said. Behind every great fortune, there is a crime. Like, not only are you defending the circumstances that allow you to spend $50,000 on shopping sprees, but you also want us not to criticize you. It feels like you want to control not only other people's economic existence, but also how we think and feel about you, which is corrosive to your soul. It should be enough for you to be happy with your $800 million and your 4 a.m. dumplings and your shopping sprees and whatever else. The fact that you immediately dismissed Bridges' comments out of hand and how you responded to her is kind of proof of this. The way you even phrased it, saying, quote, if you knew even a fraction about me or my family, this question wouldn't have made it out of your drafts, is kind of a vaguely fascistic insinuation that you have access to some objective truth that Bridge doesn't. You may own a lot more money than the rest of us, but you don't own reality. Which is why Bridges' response was much more telling of a soul properly aligned with the common good of the world. She wants to have a discussion with you, which I think you should do. If you have the time, of course, which you probably have more than us. Some of us have to make our own food.
I think that Becca Bloom was probably sitting around with a bunch of her billionaire friends talking about the state of the world and how culturally there's been a huge shift in our perception of billionaires. And I think that she made a little bet that she could, because of her extreme likability and also extreme intelligence, she's very, very smart, that she could come online and normalize wealth inequality, as long as she did it the right way, with a little bit of finesse. But that's what I think happened. I think she's literally a test case to numb us to our aversion to capitalism, to somehow convince us very subtly that ethical billionaires can exist. And Becca Bloom is the perfect vessel for that. The more I think about it, the more I think it's true that she might even be a psyop, that her intention isn't to come on and flaunt wealth because she needs validation and wants to be an influencer, but to convince us to continue to feed capitalism, in addition to fundamentally changing the way we think about the 1%. As long as she speaks softly and grants us the gift of a few pearls of wisdom every now and then that we should be grateful for, and lets us see her taking care of a few angel trees. Everyone's saying it's so pathetic to be a billionaire and still need the validation of social media, that admiration is the one thing that you can't buy, but I don't think it's about that. I think that this is a cute little hobby for her, and I think that she's doing exactly what she set out to do.
Yes, I am wearing a massive scarf inside. I don't care. I got it yesterday. I bloody love it. Anyway, it's another one where the comments are even better than the video itself. Take a look.
Like my cat's breakfast with me, Oscar and I are actually eating from matching chargers this morning. Sushi grade salmon sashimi. Our chef also made Oscar this tuna bone broth blend, which smells like a stinky sock, but to each their own. Soft boiled quail eggs. I'm just gonna give him one because Oscar's also a little bit overweight. I don't know if these eggs are really hard to peel or if I'm just really bad at it. I think it's the latter. We have some salmon roe caviar for seasoning. I'm not gonna put too much of it because I don't want to overwhelm him. Freeze-dried codfish, which I'm just gonna sprinkle. Oscar's not gonna eat these, but for presentation, we have some edible flowers. I always put a blueberry in his plate so he could play around with it after he's done. Not happy staring at him eat from the window.
Told my cat this is AI. I too refrain from putting too much caviar on my cat's breakfast to ensure he doesn't get overwhelmed. I showed this to my dog and he meowed. If I were Oscar, I would be overweight too. My cat just asked if we're poor. Her cat, purr. My cat, paw. I swear I thought she was talking about her husband. You'd think. Told my cat not to believe everything on social media. Caviar for seasoning. It's just like praise hands, high fives. My dog just asked if he can be your cat. I love the personification of all these animals. Again, my cat just put himself into adoption. Again. I'm glad cats cannot use social media. I'm not going to put too much of it because I don't want to overwhelm him. Proceeds to put more on than I've had in my whole life. Is Oscar single? Asking I refrain from putting caviar on my cat's plate so that my credit card doesn't get overwhelmed. It's the overwhelmed for me. This is my favourite. My cat sent me. My cat sent me this. It's reminding me of when I send my husband stuff just really passive aggressively. Oh, stop. General public. Brilliant. Just love it. That's it. Oh, just love them. Until next time. See you later. Don't ever stop sending them. Bye.
I honestly think that part of the problem that Becca Bloom is running into is that not only does she flaunt her extravagant wealth, like, look at my extravagant shopping trip, here's my receipt, I'm so fucking wealthy, but she also tries to give advice, like financial advice, relationship advice, and it's like, what advice can we take from a billionaire, especially about feminism? Like, well, yeah, he should pay half the bill, or he should pay all of the bills because feminism is like not equal, like we get paid less. Girl, most men out there are not making enough to pay all of the bills, and that's okay. There's a partnership, right, between the man and the woman, the woman, the man and the man, the they, the them, the whatever, where you take care of each other, because we're all living in a world that's set up to not see us thrive. That kind of feminism only works when you are a billionaire, or at least like multimillionaire, and the man can take care of the bills. The rest of us are not living in a system designed for that. We're living in a system designed to keep us poor, trying to make money that we're never gonna make, and envisioning ourselves as you, a billionaire. Like, you have to do one or the other, you know what I mean? Either give advice and never flaunt your wealth, or just be one of those creators that's like, look at how fucking wealthy I am. The doing the both is hurting her, you know? Because like, why would I listen to relationship advice from a billionaire who spends her week in ball gowns going to galas? What do we have in fucking common, babe?
Y'all are just jealous of Becca Bloom, and other rich person who insists on flaunting their wealth on camera for all to see amidst a recession in which many people cannot even afford to live. First of all, there are many valid critiques of exorbitant wealth that don't have anything to do with jealousy. But second of all, of course people are jealous. What else is the point of that content? Is that not what that content is supposed to elicit? Why else would you, as a modern member of the nobility, get on here to show the masses who cannot even afford rent all the ways that you spent their yearly rent on something that you'll toss to the side and discard at a moment's notice? Why would people not be jealous of that? If I sat there and ate food in front of you while you hadn't eaten in 4 days, would you not push me to the side and grab that food for yourself, actually? Fuck being jealous. You would take that food from me, because how dare I do that in front of you, eat in front of you without sharing my food whatsoever. Now, for the rich, it's even worse, because that money that they have is from you. And once you start to see the wealth that rich people hoard as your money, you'll start to see things differently. You'll even stop watching their content, because not only are they living on riches collected from you, but now they're actually feeding those riches back to you after they've taken them from you, so that you can make them richer. There's something masochistic about that. And there's something deeply inhumane to expect that people who are struggling financially to watch that kind of content and be completely at peace with it. And that content is propaganda to keep you hooked and to keep you from turning on them, to make you think that they are just like you. That content is here for literally counter-revolutionary purposes.
Do not get a child off the angel tree if you plan on being trifling and inhumane and writing donated on the gifts. We are not humiliating children and parents this year by doing this. If you are so worried about what's going to happen to the things you give the kids after you give it to their parents, don't do it, because your heart is not in the right place. Do not get a child off the angel tree if you plan on giving them your kids old hand-me-down clothes. There's nothing wrong with hand-me-down clothes, but these kids are poor. They're living off hand-me-down clothes in day-to-day life. Don't you think they deserve a new outfit, a new pair of shoes, new underwear and socks for Christmas? Your heart is in the right place, but these kids deserve better. Do not get an angel off the angel tree if you plan on giving them your kids old toys or toys they don't play with that are half broken, that are dirty. These kids deserve better. They're used to getting stuff like this. It is Christmas. These kids believe in Santa Claus and Christmas magic. Get them a new toy. Don't give them old stuff. Do not get an angel off the angel tree if your plan is to go to the $1.25 tree and get 2 or 3 little cheap gifts. That's not fair to those kids. Get what's on those kids' list. Don't get what you think the kids should have. That is not right. You can see what they are wishing for. If something on their list is too expensive, don't get it. Pick another one. That's the best thing about the angel tree. All the information is right there for you, and you can pick and choose. There's no shame in not being able to afford it. I understand your heart may be in the right place, but you have to realize these are children experiencing miracles. These are parents being able to do things for their kids they never thought they would have been. They swallowed their pride and they did these forms do what you have to do. If you can't afford it, just donate to Toys for Tots or donate to the Salvation Army. Get together with a group and everybody like put in $5-10 and get everything. You don't have to do it alone. But don't let your need to give back and feel something come at the expense of a child.
Honest question, but why do y'all not like Becca Bloom? There's been a lot of hate towards her recently, and I'm just trying to figure out what the problem is. For those of you who don't know, Becca comes from a billionaire family. Her parents are Chinese tech entrepreneurs, real estate investors, and founded the software company Camelot Information Systems. She started posting on TikTok earlier this year and quickly amassed a following. Now she has almost 5 million followers as people became obsessed with her rich, luxurious lifestyle. And I do mean people are all the way locked in. It doesn't matter if she's doing an Hermes haul, feeding her cat caviar, going on some private jet-setting vacation to some rich, exclusive person event. People are going to tune in and they gonna watch. The tide did start to shift on Becca a bit though earlier this year when her wedding went viral and she got that spread in Vogue because people thought that in a time where a lot of people don't have any money, people are having to finance their groceries, that a billionaire coming online to flaunt their massive displays of wealth is both insensitive and tone deaf to those that are suffering financially. I've even heard some people ask why Becca is even on social media to begin with. Like, she's already rich. Why would she want to become an influencer? Leave that to the poor people. While I do understand where people are coming from, because I too do not come from money, I also think that it's very much a choice to watch anybody's content. Like, if her content triggers you that bad, hit block or not interested and just move on. You don't have to make a whole movement to cancel her. She has a right to post on social media and showcase her life like everybody else. She doesn't have to be relatable to the masses of anything. Her being unrelatable is what makes her more captivating. Many people are very interested to see how the old money 1% lives, and Becca provides a window into that world. It's not her fault that she was born into a wealthy family. This woman is well-rounded, well-educated, works in fintech, and is a business owner. She's very much aware of her privilege and does her best to give back, whether it's giving the girlies free financial and real estate advice or doing charitable donations. Her angel tree videos have been going viral, and look y'all, she bought a kid a Switch because they loved Pokemon. We love a benevolent queen. In fact, one of her companies that she sold was actually for tutoring underprivileged students in China. Y'all want this lady to be an evil Nepo baby so bad, and I just feel like the anger is misdirected. Like, go talk to that man in the White House. Go talk to your local congressman if you're upset that your money is not moneying like it should. But let me know what y'all think down below. Do y'all think the hate towards Becca Bloom is justified or not?
So let me get this straight. You offer to participate in the Angel Tree program. You pick 2 children. When you see what they want and you find out how much the items cost, you decide to buy what you want because you felt like they were too much. So a mom did that. I don't even know if she's a mom. Don't even let me say that. A young lady did that. She picked 2 children. They said, spend a minimum of $30. She took it upon herself to say, oh no, I'm only spending $30. The child asked for a Baby Alive. She went and bought the great value version of Baby Alive. And then you turn around and make the comment and say, oh, you better be lucky you're getting this. How insensitive is that? And on top of that, you argue with people in the comments saying, why don't you go out and buy it? Oh, they better be lucky they're actually getting something from me. What? Are we those kind of people? Do we have that kind of heart? You know you could have left that there. I don't think anybody forced you to pick that from that tree. You could have easily said, you know what? This doesn't fit in my budget. Let me pick another kid. Or maybe let me not participate this year. But no, you made a whole video showing your condescending attitude saying, oh, you want a Baby Alive? You're getting this doll instead because I'm not spending the money on that. Why participate from the beginning? Imagine being that child receiving nothing that they wanted on Christmas. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. The poor husband was like, no, this is what I want to buy. I want to buy the right thing. And you said, no, if you want to buy it, that's on you, but I'm not doing it. Miss Cookie, though, please help us understand. Why be so insensitive at a time like this?